In this next video, we're going to look at the import page and just have a brief overview of how this works and what it's about. Before I begin on this one, we do have actually recorded 2 other videos on importing data, but this is just a brief overview of the page. So first of all, you want to select the module that you're wanting to look at, and as you select a module, it'll actually then show you just the import options that are available for that module. So when we look at the 9 to 12s, you can see there are some extra imports available there. Now there's a button at the top here called Read This First. This will launch our support website, and it'll give you an overview of the different imports and what order to go about doing these in. But just to give you a bit of an overview on some of the main imports that are necessary, the student summary should be the first import that gets done in any case, and before interim results as well. That's because this import actually creates new students in the system. So as you get new students added to your cohorts, or even students who have left, the student summary will update that information for you, as well as updating your absences, behaviours, the science, maths, English last 3 semesters, and roll classes at the beginning of a year. So that's an important first step one. We have a timetable import that really is optional, but you can import multiple timetables as they update. So you've got class information before you've got interim results for those. The weekly attendance should be imported from the beginning of the year in term groups, so term 1, 1 to 10, weeks 1 to 10, and term 2, 11 to 20. So you actually continue your consecutive week numbering right through to 40 at the end of the year. The at-risk subjects is an optional import and really only needed if you're using the at-risk feature. The dynamic student list will add the LUI and QCAA numbers, so if you don't have SLIMS data showing up or an OP import is not showing you the information you'd expect, just do that dynamic student list again and that'll update those numbers and hopefully link everything up for you. NAPLAN summary information, we have a student's results import here. That's another main one that we do. So that's obviously for term by term reporting or semester reporting in primary. Very important to select the correct academic year and term, and it's also really important to go back to the oldest information first and import from the oldest to the most recent that you're wanting. OP data is from OP Analyzer, the SLIMS import from the data capture. QCS import is for a practice QCS, and we have 2 different templates, a TrackEd template or the Mighty Minds template. The NAPLAN item response import, for that one we actually build an answer key into the system each year, so after the official results are released it takes us a couple of weeks to get those answer keys finalised, and we'll push out an update and that'll let you analyse the NAPLAN data in more detail. Now the coaching notes import is one that's done very regularly in a lot of cases. We've got a video on that one as well, but with coaching notes you actually export that from the list page, and then when you import that it'll bring in the notes, internal notes, goals, those sorts of things will actually get imported back in against the students. The tracking template settings here will let you view all of the different tracking templates that are available, but you can create your own tracking templates, and that's designed to bring in any sort of information that we don't have a dedicated import for that is in an Excel format. So things like PAT-M, PAT-R, ICAS results, probes, PMs, those sorts of things can come in through tracking templates. We have a rewards points import which just updates a single reward points number. The rung LOA import is one of our new ones. It lets you, for year 11s and 12s, import their rung placements from a VH10 through to a VL1. So that has a dedicated export on the list page, and then you can import those here. Student photos, that you just point it to a folder of photos, and in the photo name is still the ID, and that'll link up the 2. The practice NAPLAN is still a beta form feature, but for those who are wanting to import their practice NAPLANs and do data analysis on them, there is an option for that. And we have finally an ID matching tool which basically lets you put a list of names into TrackEd, and it will then export a list of names with their associated IDs, which is useful in some cases. And finally, on this page we have an import log, which shows you the order of the imports that you've done when you did them, and so you can have a look and review that to see where you're up to. So in each case, again, you've got an import guide, so you choose the import that you want, choose the import guide. That'll launch our step-by-step instructions on our website. There's also a printable PDF version of that. You can go to the import guide here to download that, so you can just work through the instructions. You drop in your file, and again, you can actually right-click and insert file. That's normally easier than drag and drop. Fill in the options that are available and press the import button. So that's an overview of the import page.